So basically, as soon as I was a small child and in basically at 471 Mountain Drive, basically, like I said, pretty much they drugged me for 2 years of my life and basically kept me in an incoherent state for a very long time while they figured out what to do with me, of course, because if I got around, if my story got around, or even if anyone knew who I was or what I was, of course, there would be a very big problem, as basically I am the actual Lucifer star line, Hazazel line, the one true king and everything else like that. And Rodney was trying to go around basically as fake Lucifer, and also switch the accounts over to things that they had control of, and basically put their people in power and stuff like that to basically try and get me isolated and so people wouldn't know me or know who I was, and even try to make me forget who I actually was too as well. And as I say, it's a never-ending downward spiral, basically, of basically ever depreciating results, basically, as they shoot first and take over the planet a little bit, with the help of others. I have a pretty good idea that basically Rick Bush is what was part of the whole Kennedy problem and all that other stuff, and but I'm not sure. Anyway, we'll find out though. Anyway, though, so basically, keeping me isolated so no one would know, or they were more out there than everyone else, trying to keep all these videos isolated. In fact, these videos might not even make it past past America, and probably don't even show up on search engines per se. And also uh, uh, decrediting me, and also doing other things, making me look bad, making other people look better. Basically, a whole thing to try and drown me out or make me fall through the cracks, which is very much impossible because of the fact that I am Lucifer Hazazel Starline and the actual one true king and everything else like that, and owner of Windscale and all those other things, and 14 life form types, including humanity. So there isn't really much possibility of them actually succeeding, ever. There never was. But they could run around Santa Barbara, surround me with their people, and basically keep me isolated, while basically they told the rest of the universe and world basically all kinds of things about me. But of course, they didn't realize that the center of the galaxy, there was another version of me, basically a larger version, more powerful version, and also a cipher version of me wandering around out there as well. Anyway, over the hundreds of trillions of years and everything else like that. Anyway, so it gets all complicated, and basically is this and that, and pretty much, like I said, at the heart of it pretty much is fake Lucifer Rodney and Rick Bush and a bunch of people who are, like I said, I actually took them and punished them back in time, and so they all they have to do is die, basically. And Rick Bush and Rodney thought that they were winning all throughout 1970 and 1980 and 1990 and so on and so forth. Basically, they would have this perception of basically succeeding, and when in fact they weren't. They were actually already punished and tortured, and they just had to figure it out themselves. Like I say, I figure probably as soon as Rodney Briley and Rick Bush and some of his people die, it'll probably get better, as basically his son isn't quite as psycho as he was, and doesn't really understand why he should be absolutely psychotically psycho, because basically he's already been tortured with his father. He just doesn't know it yet. So anyway, though, it's all complicated, and it's a big issue basically, as pretty much I was already everything, and already hundreds of trillions of years old when Rodney and Rick Bush first found out about me. And what they found out, they would never believe and would never even understand or comprehend until you see the galaxy coming towards us and you realize 100 trillion years of existence leading up to one event. Anyway, like I said, I've already lived it and all kinds of other things. And basically, anyway, they've already killed me several different times and blah, 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 trying to keep my story a secret, trying to keep the truth out from getting out, trying to basically clone me or make another version of me that isn't me, and all kinds of other stuff. And anyway, it gets all complicated, and trying to get plugged in or get connected to basically my mainframe. Like I said, the GOD, or basically the mainframe in Mount Cheyenne, was me, the Lamar Electrical Service Cipher. I was also the mirror of Russia. I own Germany and Russia, Astaria, and basically even China. But like I said, after things got really bad, I basically gave China into the care of Chinese as being very effective and being very good people. And I basically said, kick all the outsiders out. There should be nobody in power, nobody telling the Chinese what to do unless they're actually a Chinese person. So no black people should be up there and at the head of the boards. No Americans, no anyone except for Chinese. They should be the only ones in power, in control of their own country and their companies. They have 120. They had a 120-year plan, and it was a very effective plan and very well thought out. And the problems that they have had have to do with outsiders, basically like the black people or basically the Yankee Americans, pretty much, or pretty much was Nixon. When Nixon left and went like this, he basically said that all this technology was coming and he made all these deals, and the truth was he was about to get killed. China said leave or die, and actually I did too. So pretty much, so he was escorted out of the country permanently, so, and was kicked out at that point in time with all his other people. So anyway, and he ran back to America saying blah 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 blah, peace treaty, blah blah blah, victory, blah blah blah. It's like, no, you lost. So anyway, and I'm sure that they'll become quite effective, and that was also why basically Yankee American and pretty much the fake Lucifer Rodney would actually have exterminated them or tried to exterminate them, because eventually they would figure out the truth and knew the truth. They were actually the ones who saved me from Abraham Lincoln. Abraham Lincoln was running around saying that he was in control of the country and this and that, and basically the Chinese realized that basically I was dead or incapacitated and not around, and basically they moved to stop Abraham Lincoln and pretty much shot his hat off. So anyway, and then eventually he would be killed by other people. So anyway, a very bad person and a fake. Anyway, Rodney Briley and Rick Bush would step forward as Lucifer and this and that, and basically very quickly they would want to hide themselves and everything else like that, and basically try and be whatever. So anyway, like I say, I don't really care about their sea of lies and everything else like that. I know enough of the truth and everything else, and basically the universe also knows. So yeah, sooner or later they're going to get picked apart. And that's actually how they found me in the first place, was actually because all the orders and all the whispering secrets were coming from Rick Bush and Rodney Briley. And so they just traced it back to them pretty much, and then looked around. And there I was. A little Brian. A little just Brian. So that's how they actually found me in the first place, was basically the connection that had to be somewhere around them. If all these orders and all this other stuff was coming from them, then obviously I had to be there somewhere. So they basically traced it back to Rodney Briley and Rick Bush, and then looked around and found me, 471 Mountain Drive. So